G'day folks. Today we have yet another of Matchbox's red range of kits as we look at the B25H J Mitchell, kit PK405 of 1975. This was an absolute gem of a kit. It had my favourite Matchbox feature of being able to be built up into two significantly different versions, either glass-nosed or with the fearsome cannon nose. I didn't have one of these models until late in my teenage modelling time, and its service in the Sealing Air Force was short-lived, as I didn't attach it securely enough to the ceiling, and it became an early victim of gravitational flak. My first real-life encounter with a Mitchell bomber was 40 years ago this weekend, at an open day at Melbourne International Airport, such a bewildering concept in these security-conscious times. As a wide-eyed 13-year-old, I was in heaven. There was everything from vintage aircraft and warbirds to enjoy, right up to massive jet airliners open to look through. Alone near a hangar was a B25, looking fearsome in Australian World War II colours and markings, and with the most relaxed nose art I'd ever seen, a grinning tiger in flying helmet and goggles, sitting back and giving a thumbs up. Very Australian. I got a chance to sit in that same aircraft a few years later, for a few minutes of hangar flying, and a mate caught my shock and awe, as you'll see here. So after that, let's have a look. Now I reckon quite a few of us had similar airshow experiences in the 70s and 80s. Please let us know some of yours in the comments. Starting with the box, we have a Roy Huxley artwork here of a gun-nosed variant as part of an island attack. On the side here we see the two quite different noses that you could build using this kit. On the end, standard end layout, you know what you were getting when they're in a pile. And on this end, one that showed that they were probably the best choice for the younger modeler, because you could build them and put the decals on, didn't have to paint them. And these colours work pretty well, I reckon. Same end layout on this side, and then on the back you see the three variations. We've got a gun-nosed aircraft from the China, Burma and India theatre with the US. We've got a Free French one flying with the Royal Air Force, and we have another Royal Air Force glass-nosed variant. So three variants, all quite different, and I'm sure this model turned up in a whole lot of other colours as well. Now this is a later one without a window and with a barcode. So that's the box. So let's open her up and see what we've got inside. This poor old box is pretty battered and squished and bent, but the goodies inside are in good nick. And the typical 80s fold out sheet with the artwork on the cover with a little bit of information, a bit more information in different languages, the paint listing in different languages along with the other kits you could get, and the mini paint plan here showing the different colours that you would paint the various parts. And this one still has the put your complaint if you have one here. So that's the front. Now, 12-step instructions. Step 1, cockpit, aircrew, seats, columns, etc. Step 2, the turret. Step 3, put the turret in, not glued, and the crew compartment in, and the nose gear and the all made up the back. And I think there where you can see a bit of a gap, and over here there's nothing. I reckon that that's where the clear the spot for the stand instruction would have been before they stopped putting stands in with their kits. Take a guess anyway. Step 4, how to assemble the glass nose for the J model. Step 5, further assembly of the fuselage with main components and the solid nose model. And I see the gun packs there for the solid nose H model only, but of course I put them on my glass nose one because, hey, more guns, more fun. Step 6, the tail area. Step 7, the main gear. Step 8, main gear goes into the nacelles. Step 9, putting the engines and props together. Step 10, wings and major components onto the fuselage. Step 11, minor components onto the completed aircraft, like landing light glass, pitot mast, various doors, etc. And number 12, we have putting all the scary bits on the front of the solid nose. And I see here that technical information and assistance was by the Historic Aircraft Museum at Southend and the RAF Museum. And that reminds me of pouring through Fly Past magazines in the early 80s, reading about the Southend collection. I think they had one of the Mitchells that had been flown over from the States in the late 70s for the film Hanover Street. Anyway, that's the instructions. And we have the decals. They look to be in fairly good nick, good condition. Well, I don't know. Anyway, they're the marking options. The transparencies. Pretty standard Matchbox stuff. Lots of clearance. Not fine detailed, but very usable. And I, for one, I don't know about anyone else, but I, for one, found it very difficult to put those waist gun glazing sections in without inadvertently pushing them through into the fuselage. Very inconvenient when you'd put the model together. The first sprue. Standard Matchbox detailing with some raised panel lines there. Sand those babies off really quickly. Nose. Upper wing sections. Gun nose. Upper tail plane. And engine cowlings and mount area. Looking at the rear, made in England. $1979. Let's see what's different. So that's the rear of the first sprue. The second sprue. The simplicity of this kit is pretty apparent here. A bit of flash going on. Fins and rudders, the wing lower sections and nacelles, the aircrew, another wing lower, and the horizontal stabilisers and elevators. And the back of the second sprue. I'm not sure what that little tab is, but anyway. And the third sprue. Good colour black for all of these parts. Get away with not painting a lot of it. Oops. And the rear of the third sprue. Gear. Little tabs for the numbers. So I don't have a comparison 72nd scale Mitchell to show you, but from memory the Airfix one wasn't bad back in the day. I suppose, I'm not too sure, but they probably reissued the Airfix B25 a lot later than they should have done. But anyway, so thank you for joining me again today. It's always good to have you here. Please, if there's anything you'd like to suggest, let me know, and if I've got it, I'll film it. Cheers, folks.